So today I'm back with my friend Steven, and we're going to go over a breeding loan collaboration that we're doing together. Cue the intro, dive on in. Alright, so today we're going to go over, just kind of document what we're doing breeder loan wise, and for both of our followers and subscribers, just kind of go over the basics, and then that way you guys know what's going on too. So I think first you got to ask yourself, like, why would you do a breeder loan? I think the basics are it's beneficial to both parties, right? So yeah. We're both getting something out of it. And anything you want to add on that?
Yeah, so lots of people have asked us about breeder loans in the past. We've done one other one with Troy from Balls and Strikes. I don't know what all your experience is like with doing breeder loans, but I do think that mutually beneficial is key if you are considering doing a breeder loan at some point in your breeding career, because if it's not mutually beneficial, it is stressful, and it can create anxiety if the animals aren't breeding and you feel like, if you're the one with the animals and you feel like that you're kind of letting the other person down, because it's like, oh, well, they should have been going, and maybe if they had kept it, they would have gotten a clutch for them. And if it's not mutually beneficial, I feel like that what ends up happening is the person who has the animals has more workload put on them, and the person who doesn't have the animals has a lot of anxiety because they're like, how are my animals doing this? So you have to balance that risk reward.
Right.
So when you talk about a mutually beneficial project, what do you think makes it mutually beneficial? Is it just straight monetary value that you're looking at? Is it like getting into a new project that you're not in? Is it getting further in a project that you couldn't do on your own? How do you kind of analyze that?
I'm thinking genetic-wise. Okay. Money does have a little bit to do with it. Like, the project has to have some kind of inherent value or whatever to it, right? Like, I'm not doing this to get, pastel something or others, But for me, I'm doing genetics. So in this particular case, I have a pastel extreme gene sunset female that I didn't have any males ready for, and they have...
We actually have 3 different options on this. So the number one option is our clown het sunset male. We showed him off in last video. So he is beautiful. He's just a single gene clown, and he's 100% het sunset. We picked him up from Brock Wagner, and paired to your girl, that means we have the chance to get pastel extreme gene sunsets that are 100% het clown.
Correct.
So why exactly do you feel like that direction is your number one pick for this one?
For me personally, my collection is very clown heavy, like visual clowns, het clowns. So if I had a visual sunset that had a het clown attached to it, I'm instantly making cool clown combos that are also het sunset. And that puts me a big leap forward. So I've been sitting on sunset project stuff since like the very beginning of 2020. And for me, it's just been bad luck. There's been a move, there's all this stuff that's involved in my life. So I've yet to produce anything from my sunset project. So this will actually put me a leap forward, because then I'll incorporate clowns and everything. So
yeah, and it's super, super beneficial to us because we don't have pastel or extreme gene in our sunset project, and the fact that we have the chance to work those in where they're sunsets that are het clown is awesome. So we had produced and held back 4 double het females last season, and we have a lot of clown females just in general, as that's one of the 3 big projects that we work. So these animals from this clutch is like perfect for what we personally have. So like, let's say that we had, instead of a clown het sunset, we had a pied het sunset. So the value might be very, very similar. Would that have been something that you still would have done?
Not me personally, because I'm kind of restructuring. That'll be another video, but I am downsizing all my pied stuff. So I'm kind of stepping away from pied just for, I only have so much room in my place too. So for me, no, that's not something I would have pursued. I guess you could pursue that from a monetary aspect, like if that was the breeder arrangement, but I'm not too interested in just for money purposes. I'm interested in moving my genetics forward.
Yeah, same. So. And I think that this, again, if you are considering doing it, just because it's in a super, super valuable animal, and it might be way better than what you could produce yourself, if it doesn't fit into your projects, it might create a situation where for you to really work those new animals that you just produced and held back from your split clutch, you might need to go out and buy a $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 animal just to work that project right.
Right. And to me, I wouldn't want to go through all the stress of a breeder loan arrangement and with the sole intention of like, I'm going to make money off of this at the end, because anything can go wrong, right? Clutches go bad, whatever. And then you're just like, wow, that was a waste of time. But for me, like, a hope of moving my genetics forward makes it all worth it. For personal reasons, yeah.
So, and I know I'm asking questions in your video.
No worries.
What are some of the things that can go wrong in a collaborative breeding project?
Well, I mean, animals get sick, animals die, clutches go bad. Could just be one egg. Some girls, I've had, and not sunset girls, but I've had girls that they look big and everything, they dropped like 12 slugs, and there was no viable eggs. So, I mean, there's a bunch of little things like that can go wrong. You could totally miss the odds, and we could just end up with a bunch of double heads. Yeah. But still, to me, I mean, a double head's still valuable for what I'm trying to do in my collection. So it is what it is, right?
Yeah. So we're working this where we have, based off this pairing, a 1 and 2 shot to hit visual sunsets. Let's say that it was, and again, I don't really know. Let's say that you had like a double het sunset ultra male, and we had a double het sunset ultra male, and we wanted to do a collaborative breeding project where the odds are so low that if we end up hitting like the sunset ultra male in that collaborative breeding project, the person who has like first pick far outweighs the split. How do you think that people should do collaborative breeding projects like that, and how should they handle?
Man, that would be a personal choice, and how to handle that. If whoever got the goal animal, I would assume would still kick down the other person some kind of other animals, money, something, because it wouldn't be weighted fair even if you just got one pick and they got the rest. If the rest are all like Haas double heads, that's that one. In this case, the odds are so, they're in our favor in this case, so all the animals should be pretty good. I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I mean, all the animals should be pretty good. So, and all right, so while we're talking about that, like, you want to go over our specific arrangement?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, lay it out.
Okay, so what we've talked about so far, and we haven't like written it down, but we do want to write it down so that way we both like have that record on it, because I do think that's really important if you are doing one, is to have like written out, here's what the split is and all of that stuff. But Shane has the more valuable animal. So he has the Pastel Extreme Gene Sunset. That's a breeder female. That's, I don't know exactly like how much it is, but I'd say between like a $7,500 and $10,000 snake. Just because if you paired that to a visual sunset right now, every single one of those babies would be visual sunsets, and you could sell every single one of those babies for like $4,000 to $5,000. So that means in one clutch, she could potentially make like $20,000 to $30,000 herself.
Right.
So Shane has the more valuable animal. Our clown het sunset we had purchased for $4,000, which we're super, super excited about. We think that's a very, very good price for a clown het sunset. And he can make really good animals, but they're not like, he isn't the key to this one. Shane's female is. So Shane has first pick of the entire clutch.
Right. So then we'll alternate picks. I would get first pick. He would get the next animal. So on and so forth down the line. And then if there's an oddball, we decided to either sell it or the other one could buy the other one out at whatever the value is, 50%, right? That oddball animal would be 50% both of ours, so then we could decide to do with it what we're going to do with it at the time. Odds are that when we get down to that animal, it'll probably be like a male double het. We could hit all females.
We could. Yeah. We did it for the banana clutch.
Yeah. So, that seems like a fair arrangement. I know I've heard other breeder arrangements, like where they do like, oh, your animal's this part of the equation. They do like a percentage split. I don't think that's... I like the arrangement we have, just personally. I mean, it makes it low maintenance and easy. Like, you pick, I pick. You pick, I pick. We're done. We had talked a little bit last night just about the idea of like breeder arrangements where it's like one breeder gets the like females, so they do all the like pairings, they hatch the babies out, and then the idea of like that breeder who has done all of the pairings and stuff like that, selling all of the babies, and then you split the proceeds for it. What's your thoughts on that like setup for a breeder loan? I think that puts a lot of the work on the person who was housing the animals and everything. Me personally, I don't like that arrangement, personally. Like when we're done, like when the clutch hatched, I'll come back down here, we'll do the picks, and then I'll leave with what I'm leaving with. That's how even if I planned on selling any of them, I'm going to take them back to my place and sell them through my social media, whatever, and do it that way.
Yep. I agree.
I'm not going to put the workload of selling animals on you too when you were here doing all the breeding and the hatching and all that stuff. So that's just not the way I do business personally.
So we both have ultrasounds, and your girl's at like 9-10 millimeter follicles ish right now.
Yeah, I can send you it's still on her tub.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I texted it to you too.
Yeah.
I did. So it was like 10, somewhere around 10.
So I feel like that with ultrasounds, it makes it pretty easy because you can tell, like, oh yeah, they're building, like we've got the lock in, it's going well. Let's say somebody doesn't have an ultrasound and they're doing a breeder loan. How should they handle that where they don't actually know if the female's going? How long should somebody hold on to the female before they send it back? And like, she's not going. Like,
I held on to a female for like 2 years on a breeder loan. I did, and with an ultrasound, she just like built up and then kind of hovered, didn't go, and then the following year she went. So I mean, that's part of the things that can happen in a breeder loan arrangement. I mean, I think that's a case by case basis though. Like, if you needed room and you needed her out, I'd just come back down here and pick her up if she didn't go the first year. Yeah, I mean, that's up to the two parties involved. I definitely wouldn't be holding on to an animal for like 5 years if nothing happened. You know, I'd be like, all right, take her back. You know?
Yeah. Okay, so when it comes to, like, you get all these babies out, and each party has their animals from it. Let's say there was a 6-egg clutch, everybody gets 3 animals, but there is much better animals for one. Not so much to where it's like an ultra male sunset to pos double hex, but like in this situation, like let's say that based off of how the split comes down, if it's a 6-egg clutch, you have the first pick, so you would pick a visual sunset. We have the second pick, let's say we pick a visual sunset, and there's a third visual sunset, you pick that, and then the other ones are like double hex in this case. How do you feel like that one goes?
Yeah, that's a hard one to call. I mean, that would be up to the person that it's in favor, but I would assume there would be some other favors down the road. A dinner at the frog place.
Yeah. I personally think that the way we have it set up, if that were to happen to us, that's exactly what's going on. He is the one who's sacrificing his female that he could pair to his own animals and get an entire clutch himself, so we're just happy to be able to get a male. I feel like that the person who's losing opportunity, because we're gaining opportunity in this collab, should get the weighted side, if there is a weighted side.
Yeah, but in my opinion, just in life and everything, it should be fairly equal too. So, like, if one of us came out on top, like the other one, you know, hooked somebody up later on down the line or something, you know, a good dinner, you know, whatever, an opportunity at the first shot for an animal that one of us produces or something too, you know, like, there's other favors down the road that. Plus, that's another thing I wanted to bring up with the breeder loan arrangement too. There's like, it's kind of like cementing relationships too, right? We're going to be like grandparents or whatever.
There we go.
So, yeah. There we go. So, you know, there's that part too. There's a networking value in there too that I don't think people talk about that. But
I don't think people do talk about it. So when somebody's coming, like let's say somebody sees this video and they message you and they're like, hey, I got this animal. I know you're really into the Clown G-Stripe project. I have a Desert Ghost G-Stripe, a combo Desert Ghost G-Stripe Het Clown male. Would you want to do a collab? How do you decide if you're going to do a collab with somebody?
For me, I gotta at least know them. Like, we knew each other from 15 Minutes of Lame stuff. We've already met. I've been watching their social media for a while, so I know they're already a presence. If somebody that I've never heard of or something approached me for some kind of collab like that, I would probably say no. I don't know about you, but
same. And it's not a saying that like new breeders don't get to do collabs with people who are more established, but it's more about trust because a lot of stuff can go wrong.
Right.
And this isn't even going off of like somebody scamming somebody, but I mean just like, do you trust that they take care of the animals in a way that you are okay with? Do you trust that they know what they're doing when they incubate the eggs, so they don't kill the entire clutch or something like that?
Yeah, and like if it's someone you never heard of, maybe that's their first animal for some reason. They just decided to drop money. Do they even know the ins and outs of reptile breeding, how the industry works, what's the accepted, you know, way of doing business and stuff? I don't know. There's just too many variables there for me. And I'm kind of a reclusive person anyway, so like I'm more comfortable with the people I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wasn't thinking about this until you mentioned the idea of networking and all that stuff, but I do think that doing a collab with somebody really does cement that relationship with the other breeder. Do you feel like, do you consider the risk of the other breeder like going off the rails and having like a bunch of negative publicity because they say a bunch of stuff that's problematic, and now you're like, oh crap, and I'm tied to them because I'm doing a breeder loan? How would you handle that?
Well, then after that, maybe you keep the rest of the breeder loan quiet if it's something way outlandish, you know. But like that's part of knowing the history and person. Like I don't see you guys ever doing something like that. I would probably be more the one that would say something crazy. But you know, that's part of the like. I don't do business. I would never do a collab with somebody I don't know and I don't trust. So there's that value, and that's part of the. We filmed so many videos at this point, but that's part of like establishing your social media and your brand. You build your reputation. So then everything, all the decisions I make are based on somebody's reputation at that point. They have a nice reputation where it's not like scandalous. There's no
not yet.
there's no scandals. There's no drama. So then that makes me feel more comfortable.
No, I agree. I think that is one thing that, well, I wasn't thinking about it for this, but if I felt that somebody was kind of a loose cannon, even if I liked them, I wouldn't want to risk like that kind of connection.
Being associated. Because when you're in a breeder loan situation, you're kind of like temporary business partners on that one project, so you are connected.
Yeah, and if you like are going to sell those animals, again, when we did the one with Troy, like we both put down like in our descriptions of the animals, like this animal was produced from a collaboration with each other, so that way people knew, and I feel like that helps because you can kind of connect to the other breeder's audience. So if somebody really, really likes Troy and they see that we have an animal that they want, you're like, oh, and they collab with Troy, I know him. It kind of helps your credibility on that too.
Yeah, and then like kind of what you're saying, I post a picture of whatever animal I hold back, and somebody asks me like, hey, do you have anything from that available? No, I don't, but this was a collab with Leviathan and they're selling XYZ over there from that same clutch. Go hit them up. Yeah. So sharing the audience, just like doing these videos, sharing the audience.
Yep, 100%. Other question, not so much about the collaboration itself, but let's say that what do you want? Like, if you could pick one animal from this, what exactly do you want? What's your goal animal from this collab?
A visual sunset that's het clown male. Okay. That's what I need to like push it in my collection. A female would be good too, but a male would I would be instantly on the ground running. I would have badass clown combos that are het sunset.
Okay, so like let's say you get it. Let's say you get a extreme genes sunset het clown male that you end up holding back from the clutch. And he gets up to size, everything's great. Who would you end up pairing him to from the animals that you have right now the first year he is ready?
Oh, I'd probably go Mystic Spot Nose Yellow Belly Clown. I would do the Leopard Spot Nose Het Clown because she's a big girl that makes Batmans right away and has like 10, 12, 8 clutches. So, I mean, I would... Dude, there's so many. Mojave Yellow Belly Clown. There would just be... I would maybe work it into G-Stripe Clowns in there somehow to cross over to that project. Then have, hets that are, clown... Het G-Stripe, Het Sunset, and start taking it to the next level that way.
Okay.
I try not to go too far into it because, man, like I said, everything could, it could all be slugs, and then I'd be like, man, I really got my hopes up. A 1 year breeding ahead, I'm like, all right, I could dash those dreams. But you start going 5 years out, I'm like, oh, man, my dreams are ruined,
Yeah. I do feel like that, again, with this pairing, it's as good of odds as we could do it, unless it was like a visual to a visual.
Right.
I feel like that if we don't get a visual sunset that's het clown of some sort in it, I'll be surprised.
Right. So what are you going for? Obviously a visual. So are you leaning more towards a male or a female?
I personally would also want a male from it. All of the different potential combos, I personally would want an Extreme Gene Sunset Het Clown male, because same thing for you, we compare them to all of our clown females. Like we have a GHI Spot Nose Yellow Belly Clown female that we picked up from Justin. That ever since seeing Justin's Spot Nose Sunset Clown, I'm like, we gotta get Spot Nose into the Sunset Clown project. We gotta do that. I'm so excited about it. So if we had that, we could pair them and make some really cool combo clowns that are het sunset, and then we compare those to all of our double hets that we had produced last season. I do want to hold back some females too, because I want to help out on the odds when we're getting up to it. But I'd say the one that I also want is a male.
Yeah. A female would be astounding too. You just got to wait longer for the female. But I would be able to do damage with the female too. Hopefully she got up to size in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, and again, they're both of them are awesome, and I'm sure in the long run, the female's going to be way more valuable than the male in the long run.
Yeah, longer term, yeah.
But the fact that you could get one male, pair him to 4 different females, the first year he's ready to go, you could be crushing it.
That's part of my reason for this collab, because I was already supposed to be on the ground running and making visual sunsets, and then just a bad luck chain of events. I still have never produced any sunsets, so that's why I'm like, I need to jumpstart this. Adding clown into it will help jumpstart me and get me back towards the
leading edge.
Yeah, the forefront, your little groundbreaking stuff. Yeah, dude, when you're injecting that project with fire and lace and all that kind of good stuff, you're starting to push the boundaries in.
So for the collaborations, all of that stuff in general, what do you feel? Do you think that they are good? Do you think that it's neutral, just kind of depends on the person, or do you think in most cases people should avoid them?
I would say it's neutral. It depends on the person. I am definitely not seeking that out on a regular basis. That's not how my business model works. And one off here and there is cool, but if I had 5 going at the same time, that'd be too stressful. Yeah. I know there is other people that do a lot with a lot of people all the time, and they continuously have it going, but that's not my personal preference. I like to be in control of everything I'm doing.
Yeah.
So that's where the reputation and trust comes in handy with you guys. So I'm sending an animal to you, and I trust you'll do because you have similar goals.
Yeah.
So they have similar goals. That's something we didn't bring up. We have similar goals for that project. So I trust that they're going to do what's in the best interest for that. So
one other question that I can think of that I know people have asked us in the past: how do you decide which animal goes to which place?
Clarify that a little bit.
So, in this situation, how do we decide if your animal comes to us and we do the breeding, or our animal goes to you and you do the breeding, but not necessarily just for us, for anybody who's thinking of doing a collab? How do you decide?
In my opinion, whoever has the male holds the animals, because they're going to work their male to other females. So, it would do them a lot of injustice if they sent me the male. Then that's that much less work he could do. So whoever has the male should be doing that. The animals should hold the animals, in my opinion.
Yeah, I want to pair that male. It all depends when he gets up to size, how good of a breeder he is, and stuff like that. But we have a black pastel, a banana, black pastel, mahogany, asphalt female that I haven't talked to Courtney about this. So if she sees this video before I talk to her about it, I want to pair him to her so that way we can also try to work towards the Sunset Freeway Clown project. So I feel like that would be really cool too.
Oh yeah. And that's another thing too. So not only is there the one male, but they have 3 males that I was interested in. So there's a pecking order. If that male doesn't work for whatever reason, then there's a number 2 and a number 3. So something could still come of it. Where I'm not set up to work Sunset like that. They're way heavier in Sunset than I've ever been. So
do you want to talk about those other males and what exactly from them, why you pick them and put them in that order?
Yeah, so my female is a visual sunset, so we're choosing the clown het sunset as number 1 to get the clown double recessive going. And then number 2 is a yellow belly red stripe het sunset, so that would inject more genes in there. It would be 50% sunsets in the clutch, but you're adding more codoms in there, so that's good. And then the third is a visual sunset. So like I said, I'm just behind on sunset. So worst case scenario, if I just came home with 3 or 4 visual sunsets, that's still going to help me in the long run. I would maybe sell 1 and hold back the rest.
Yeah. So. I completely get that. I really hope the Kit, our clown het sunset boy, that he's up to size and ready to go when she's ready to go, because that's the one I want the most. I also can't wait to see a red stripe yellow belly sunset, because that hasn't been hit yet as far as I'm aware of. So
either way, and that to me reduces stress in this situation. This whole project isn't pending on one animal from them. Males go off food, some males don't like to lock, some females and males just don't lock even though they'll lock other snakes, so there's a whole bunch of variables in there. So there's other backup plans where it's still going to be beneficial to both of us.
And that's all pretty much like Shane. If it's hey, she's at 15 millimeters, we've paired our clown het sunset to her multiple times, still haven't locked. Once Shane pretty much says yeah, go put the red stripe in, then we'll do that. Shane's going to control all of that. part of it. So,
well, thank you.
I mean, it's your female.
Yeah. That's how I pair. That's a whole nother video, but like that's how I do my pairings. I'm ultrasounding, and then like a female, like I need to get a male in there with her, and if the male I had to plan for wasn't ready, then I go with plan B. It is what it is.
Awesome.
Nature's nature.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add to it?
I would say, not that I know off of like the top of my head, just thinking like, oh, this is something else I was waiting to say. But if you are considering doing a collab, I think that it can supercharge like your progress in your breeding career and your breeding plans. But it does introduce stress even in a collaborative breeding project that goes smoothly. There's gonna be stress in it. You're going to be like, at some point, like worried about the animals if you don't have them there, or you're going to be worried like, oh, I really want this female to go because I don't want to disappoint the other person.
Right.
I think that because of that stress, because of that anxiety, it has to not just be like, oh, this is a little beneficial, but it has to like jump both people very, very far ahead to make it worth it, in my opinion.
So something you just said there about adding stress, like, oh, I really want this female to go so the other person isn't disappointed. So I would suggest that whoever you're doing the collaboration breeding loan with, they have some experience. Because like I know, I have a female that's been sitting at 20 millimeter follicles for 2 years. 2 years! And she's not going up or down. So snakes do weird stuff. It is what it is. If you were new in the hobby, you might think the other person's trying to get over on you, when that's not the case. The animals do what they do. So
yeah,
it is what it is. Well, cool, brother.
Awesome.
And before we end this video, I just want to thank Steven and Courtney. They had me over, took me out to dinner, stayed the night. It was a really good time, really fun. Thank you, Steven. Until next time, look for some update videos when we got babies on the ground, hopefully. Rock on.